Hi guys, it's Hani here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful and delicious dessert. This is a Dobos cake or Dobos tort. Dobos tort originated in Hungary. Original recipe consists of 5 sponge cake layers and rich buttercream with a caramel topping. I personally don't like the caramel topping on there, so I've been using chocolate ganache or just melted chocolate over the top. In the past, I've made this cake with 5 cake layers and up to 30 cake layers. So let me show you how to make the cake layers first. You're going to need a whole lot of eggs, all-purpose flour, a little bit of salt and also baking soda, granulated sugar and vanilla extract. First, I'm going to separate the egg yolks and egg whites, and I'm going to beat the egg whites with a pinch of salt until they are foamy, and then I'm going to add about half of the granulated sugar. Beat it on high until you have stiff peaks formed. Once stiff peaks are formed, we can carefully scrape out the meringue into a clean bowl. And now I'm going to add egg yolks and remaining sugar and beat until tripled in volume. While that's beating, prepare your baking sheets. Line your baking sheets with parchment paper and set them aside. Here I'm also adding some vanilla extract. Now we're going to fold sifted flour into the egg yolk mixture, alternating with a meringue. Once you've folded all the flour and all the meringue into the egg yolks, we can divide the mixture between 3 baking sheets. And I'm going to bake it in the preheated oven at 350 degrees of Fahrenheit for about 10 to 12 minutes or until the edges are golden brown. While it's baking, line your surface with wax paper and dust it with powdered sugar. Release the cake from the pan and invert it onto the wax paper dusted with powdered sugar and repeat. Remove the parchment and let the cakes cool completely. Cake layers can be prepared a few days ahead. If you don't have time to make the buttercream right away, you could store these layered between pieces of wax paper or parchment in your refrigerator. I'm going to cut the layers in half. That way I will have 6 cake layers. You could also cut it in half one more time and you'll get 12 cake layers. To prepare my buttercream, I first made chocolate pudding or custard, if you will. You can find a recipe on my blog. Link is going to be posted down below. I'm making chocolate German buttercream. I'm going to cool the pudding until it's room temperature. Now we're going to beat room temperature butter with some powdered sugar. I'm also going to add some cocoa powder. Once butter is creamy and delicious, we can gradually add room temperature pudding. You should make sure that the butter and the pudding are the same temperature. You don't want to add warm pudding to butter or cold pudding to butter, because you'll get lots of lumps in there. So I'm going to gradually beat that in. I really like this buttercream because it's very light in texture and it's just so delicious and creamy. I'm also adding some delicious rum and some vanilla extract. If you are serving this dessert to kids, I would omit the rum and just use vanilla. Now always make sure that you taste, and once you're happy with your buttercream, we can fill the cake. Make sure you add reasonable amounts of buttercream between the layers. Remember, the layers are very thin, so you don't want to add too much buttercream. We want to kind of balance it out nicely. Now I'm going to weight it down with a cutting board and I'm going to stick it into the fridge overnight. Once chilled, we can trim the edges and cut it in half. I'm icing the cake with remaining buttercream. Once I'm done with it, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator until buttercream firms up, and then we can make the ganache. To make the ganache, I'm using heavy cream and chocolate. I'm going to heat the heavy cream until almost boiling, and then I'm going to pour it over the chocolate, let it sit for a few minutes, and then whisk it until smooth. Let the ganache cool for about 5 to 10 minutes and then pour it over the cake. One thing to remember: before you pour the ganache over your cake, make sure it's chilled properly so the warmth of the ganache is not going to melt your buttercream. Traditionally, I think Dobos cake, the sides of the cake are coated with ground walnuts or ground hazelnuts. I actually like the drips like this, so I'm just gonna leave it like it is. And I'm going to decorate the top with some sprinkles. You could also drizzle some white chocolate over the top or add some chocolate decorations. I just noticed a little boo-boo on the side of the cake, so I'm quickly fixing it with ganache. To decorate the second cake, I decided to use SugarVeil icing decoration that I made earlier. You can learn how to make it too. I'm going to include a link to the video in the description. And now I think it's time to cut the cake. Look at that beautiful layered dessert. I love this dessert. I make it probably once a month or so, and I hope you guys will give it a try as well. Let me know if you do. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.